Our next, yep, thank you. Our next guest speaker is ready. Is someone that has spoken at POI for years back to back. When you are loaded, that's what happens. We keep coming back for more. All right. So we have 1 second. Yeah. All right. Our speaker is Mr. Dapo Bankole. Dapo is a tech innovator, storyteller, and community leader, transforming mentorship and immigrant integration through platforms like Mentorfy, Mentor World, and Crane Portal. He's president of Moffett Systems Corp. He hosts the Immigrant Life podcast, aired in 100 plus Canadian cities with 24 plus years in tech, a leadership MA, and a doctorate in progress. He inspires inclusion, strategy, and change. Please let's make welcome to the virtual stage, Mr. Dapo Bankole. You're, you're very welcome. So we have you. It's a privilege to have you again. So we would have you speak for um 15 minutes, and then we would take questions and answers. I know it's difficult to speak for 15 minutes, but when you start, you don't know how fast that time goes. So over to you, sir.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me. And good afternoon, everyone. I just need to start by saying that, I'm not really myself today, but I'm here anyway. So just bear with me. My facial expression is not what it is normally, and even my voice. So just bear with me, okay? Anyway, yeah, I'm here, to talk to you I mean, it's a more of a conversation, I would say, about something that's always been on my mind, and incidentally, that seems like the theme of this year, which is what I call the inside job, I call that the inside job, the private victory that precedes public acknowledgement. Just a quick show of hands. How many of you have ever Googled or went on whatever search platform that you use, how to be successful in life at some ungodly hours while questioning all your life choices? Anyway, I can't really see your hands here, but I'm just going to assume that most of us are nodding, because we've all been there. It's just what life is all about. There are those times where you're just asking yourself, what brought me here? And like some of us, depending on our background, you'll understand when I say, village people, that kind of a thing. Say, is it that finally these people have actually eventually been able to get me or what? Anyway, when I say the inside job, some people might even think there is a movie called that, but this is not about the bankers or the corporate espionage, although sometimes personal transformation definitely feels just as risky. The inside job for me is about the mindset shifts, the unseen disciplines, the mental work, and the private grind that quietly shapes the person you must become before your impact ever becomes visible to the world. And think about that for a second. Before anyone else sees what you can do, you gotta become someone who can actually do that thing. We live in a world that's obsessed with all the visible things. Those LinkedIn announcements, the conference photos, those I'm excited to share posts that make you want to, like, even sometimes feel like throwing your phone away because it's just inside of you, you feel you don't even measure up. But here's something most people don't talk about, despite all those posts. Those 2 a.m. conversations that you have with yourself, the days when you feel like a complete fraud, and I've been there times without number. The moment when you're rebuilding your entire self, sense of self-worth while everybody else seems to have figured it out. And you're wondering, what are you doing wrong? That invisible work, that's where the real magic happens. I'll take you back to I think 2013 when I was in Tim Hortons. Apparently, some of you may understand this. It seems like that's Canada's unofficial therapy office. You know, when you're not feeling good, when you want to talk to someone, that's where you go, Tim Hortons, right? I was staring at my laptop and I got another rejection email. At this point, I mean, I was new to Canada. I'd stopped counting how many rejection emails I had received. But if I had to guess, it was almost, it felt like infinity, like it just kept coming. This was the time, I thought about things that I planned to be in Canada. I really planned to be here. I had 2 degrees, I had tons of certifications, years of experience, a resume that really looked impressive on paper, I must say. And I couldn't even get a call back from companies that I've never heard of. That's when the thought hit me that what if I've been approaching all this very wrong along the way? I've been treating success like as if I'm ordering food from a menu, pick the right qualifications, add some experience, and boom, you got the success. No. I finally realized that life isn't like a restaurant. Sometimes it's more like trying to even cook a meal you've never made before, with the ingredients that you can't even pronounce in a kitchen where nothing works the way it should. The only difference is you got to learn as you go. The inside job started with the most uncomfortable question I'd ever asked myself. What if the problem isn't out there? What if the problem is in here within me? Not my skills, not my experience, but the operating system running in my head. The stories I was telling myself on repeat, the beliefs I never questioned, but which were there, running and influencing my life, influencing my decisions, everyday decisions. Stories like, I have to prove myself. I have to prove that I really belong here. But you know how that is very exhausting. When you say things like, my accent makes me sound less credible. That's completely false. But hey, I believed it. If I just work harder, eventually someone will notice. You know how all that turned around, right? It's a classic mistake. So I really started what I now call like mental debugging. If you're in the software industry, you'll understand what I mean. And that's like, when you're looking for what's not supposed to be there, what is causing problem, and you're trying to remove it. That's what I call mental debugging. Like fixing broken code, except that the computer this time around, the software this time around is in your brain. And the stakes, of course, feel very, very high. Here's what the inside job actually looks like. And I promise you, it's nothing like those glossy self-help books, Do you know the way they make it sound as if, again, they make it feel like, just put 1 + 2 and you get 3. No, it's not always like that. It's really learning to sit with uncertainty without immediately reaching for distractions. Do you know how hard that is? I once stared at my ceiling for almost like 20 minutes because I refused. I made up my mind I was not going to check my phone. Excuse me. It's really having honest conversations with yourself that will make your therapist really proud. Like, hey, self, why do you think you need permission to go after what you want? Well, other self, glad you asked. It's choosing growth over comfort, even when comfort is wearing sweatpants and pretending your problems doesn't exist. Sometimes growth looks like showing up to that networking event. We would all be there where you know absolutely nobody. And yet your social anxiety is having a field day. It's building systems that work when motivation doesn't. Because motivation is like that friend who gets super excited about weekend plans, but hey, that person ghosts you. When Saturday comes, you plan, you agree, we're going to do this together. I'll buy this, I'll buy, the person doesn't show up. Discipline, on the other hand, is like that friend who shows up with coffee and stays with you until the work is done. My breakthrough came when I stopped trying to convince people that I was worth hiring and started building something worth sharing. I launched a podcast, the Immigrant Life Podcast. And you know what? That was in 2018. By launched, I mean I recorded episodes in my bedroom Because I read somewhere that small spaces have better, sound acoustics. But my first episode got only like 7 downloads. Three of them were me checking, do these things really work? How did it go? I was the one checking. It wasn't real downloads. And the other four, I can confirm, I had some other friends on the other side I was talking to, and they were helping me check the upload process. Is he okay? Is he not okay? What am I saying here? There are certain things you will need to do in your life in order to become the person that the world out there would respect. Despite the fact that I learned that podcast like in a small little bedroom of mine, something shifted in that closet. Something shifted in that bedroom of mine. I found my actual voice, not my interview voice, not my please take me seriously kind of voice, but a voice that had something real to say. I started mentoring other immigrants, not because I was some kind of expert, but because I remembered what it felt like to be completely lost. Funny thing, helping others find their way helped me figure out mine as well. I began researching mentorship, not for any grand business plan, but because I was genuinely curious about why some conversations change your life, while some others, by lunch, you've already forgotten. You know those people. You have some conversations with them, 5 minutes conversation, and they stay with you for life. And you always remember. But some other conversation, you just forget them, even just by the next moment. But fast forward that till today. I founded MentorFi, now connecting people with mentors who actually understand their journey. I speak at events like this, where people sometimes laugh at my jokes. I've stood on stages that honestly I've never really imagined that I would see. But here's the thing that might surprise you. None of that external success feels as significant as the internal shift that made it possible. The real victory wasn't building the company that I have today. It was building a version of myself that I actually enjoy being. The real achievement isn't the speaking gigs, it's finding the confidence to believe that I have something worth saying. The real transformation it's not the founder title that I have today, but it's the ability to sleep peacefully. And I mean peacefully, knowing that I was building something that felt true to who I actually am. From where I am today, looking up at every one of you there, I want to ask you the questions that change everything for me. What story have you been telling yourself about why you can't have what you want? And here's the important part. Is that story actually true? Is it just comfortable? What would you attempt if you knew? I mean, if you really, really knew that you were already enough. Not after you get that second degree or the third degree or the fourth degree. Not after you lose weight. That's what I'm even trying to do now. Not after you figure everything out. Right now, as you are, what would you attempt if you knew that you're already enough? What's one small bet that you could place on yourself this week, even today? Not a life-changing leap as we all want. No, just a small bet that says, I believe that I'm worth the investment. Because really, what I call the inside job, it isn't about becoming someone completely different. That's probably what we're thinking. It's about becoming who you already are, underneath all the doubt, all the fear, and all the other people's expectations that we're trying to meet up with. You are already who you meant to be. You know what the inside jobs reminds me of? Those summer days, and this is this is really funny to me when you're trying to get some serious work done, and somehow a flight gets into your house. You have no idea how it got there. You're sitting in your office or in your bedroom or wherever, probably squeezed, how it came in. You have no idea. But now it's just buzzing around your head. And you're just trying to focus to get stuff done. The maddening part is you could literally tear down the whole world, open all the windows, open the doors, do everything, and that fly still would not know how to get out. I've been there. Very, very, very irritating, very annoying. It will just keep buzzing around, driving you crazy. That's what external distractions really are when you're trying to do the inside job. The rejections, the doubts, other people's opinions, they're just flies. and you can spend all your energy chasing them around, or you learn to do the most important work even while they are buzzing. It's about the unglamorous work of knowing yourself so well that rejection can't break you, comparison can't distract you, and setbacks can't derail you. It's about building from the inside out so that when opportunities show up, and they will, you're ready, not just with the skills and the experience, but with unshakable clarity about who you are and what you bring to this world. The world doesn't need another person trying to be someone else's version of successful. The world needs you, the real you, solving problems that only you can see in ways only you can ever imagine. But first, you've got to do that inside job, my friend. Start tonight. Start with just one question, one honest conversation with yourself, one small act of believing that you're worth the effort. Your future self is counting on it. So is everyone whose life you'll touch along the way. The inside job isn't just about you becoming who you're meant to be. It's about giving everyone watching you permission to start their own transformation. And the beautiful irony about this is the moment you stop trying to impress everyone else is the exact moment you become truly, truly impressive. So what's stopping you? Do the work. Do it in the dark. Do it when nobody's watching. Do it especially when you don't even feel like it. Do it when you feel like giving up. Because the person the world needs you to become, they are waiting on the other side of your inside job. Thank you.
Wow. I kept shaking my head and I was like, so what should we expect when you're 100% and you're not under the weather because this is amazing. Like, they were coming in bits and pieces, but very huge punches. And it made me really reflect on my beginning in Canada a couple of years ago as well. And looking at where I am now. Um, I've done a bit of inside jobs, but there is a lot more to do. So now, thank you. I know what to call it. They are inside jobs, and this is very, very succinct, very well delivered. Thank you. Like, I think this is something that everybody needs to hear. Everybody needs to hear this. Every teenager, every youth, every adult. It's nothing short of fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The chat is filled with applauses and thumbs up and everything, So I mean, this is amazing. Thank you. Thank you. There's some sessions that you would talk a lot. There are some that you have not even finished thinking about what you just heard. So so that's where I am now. I'm in that space, and somebody said, "This is so powerful." Somebody said, "This is so insightful." Well done, sir. Somebody said, "Fantastic session, Mr. Dapo. Thank you. Thank you." Okay, so this is the time to ask our questions. Feel free to put your questions in the chat. Somebody else is saying this is beautiful and insightful. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. So questions in the chat. So there is one that says, at what point, this was sent to me directly, at what point did you get the courage to look inward? What were the signs that enough was enough? When you say thus far and no more, enough is enough. So what was that point for you?
Yeah, great question. Actually, there is no other answer other than when enough was enough. I was just tired. It's like I just got tired of trying. It was a case of, you know what? This is who I am. Either take me or you don't, that sort of thing. So, I mean, the signs, like you asked, like, what are the signs when you know enough is enough? The sign is really, you get tired of it. But honestly, you don't have to wait till that time. You'll be wasting time to wait until you actually get to the bottom. No, you heard it. You can make up your mind that you know what, I'll stop, you know, trying to meet every other person's expectation. You just get to realize that you're enough because in reality, we all, our life experiences, you know, good or bad, in fact, good and bad, not even all, good and bad, you know, our what we studied and whatever it is, all those things make us unique and nobody else, I mean, nobody else can actually replicate who you are because you're unique. Your experiences are different, your skills are different, your interests are different, everything. So you can just, it's a mental shift for me. That's what I realized. Yes, I did that when I was like at the very, very bottom. But you don't have to wait till you get to the bottom. It's just make up your mind, you know what, I'm done and go for it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay. So, do you have like steps and processes that someone can like also follow? Maybe just to say, okay, these were the steps I took. I did this, this, and this. And then, it can just be like a roadmap for someone else. They can add their own thoughts to it for sure, but like a few pointers to how to silence the negative voices and how to really build, that do that inside job, as it were.
So I would say there are three ways to get it done. One, journaling.
Mm,
Get a journal. Write things down. Just things coming up in your head, things, it doesn't have to make sense. This is about you just trying to understand who you are, what's going on. What are those things that you're saying to yourself? All those times that you're feeling that, you know what, I'm not enough, I am not qualified, like whatever it is coming into your head, write those things down. Like every time, carry a small notepad around, write them down. Wherever, just write them down. It's called journaling. Think through.
mm,
You can decide to, start to do it at a specific time. You can decide, like whatever works for you. It's okay. Some people will choose, I journal maybe an hour before I sleep or very early when I wake up, whatever. It doesn't really matter. You choose what works for you. But journal, write things down, your thoughts. Don't try to. So the one mistake we make is trying to make them look pretty, to be honest. No, don't try to make them as they come, whatever it is, just write it down. And it's meant for you. Don't share it with anybody else. Because you surprise yourself that some things you write down, you actually might feel ashamed about it. You like, you know what? No, you that human being must see this one. In fact, I'm going to burn it. And it's okay. You know those kind of emails that you write. Sometimes you get email at work and you feel like, you know what? I'm so upset about it, and you write all those replies and you just say it as it is, but you know you are not going to send it. Then eventually you trash it when you've calmed down. Right. That's the way you journal. Just empty your brain. That's the whole idea. It helps you to see patterns that you otherwise would not have seen. That's one. Second thing I would advise is get a mentor. Get a mentor. Get somebody, I mean, a mentor, somebody who can actually see you for who you are and be very objective with you and be able to show you patterns, that you are not seeing in your life. Work with that person intentionally. Not a mentor's not going to work with you for 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months. It's for long. Somebody will go with you and be able to give you that feedback. Get a mentor. And the third thing I would say is also get a friend. Get a friend. Not somebody who like it's tricky because I say get a friend because that's a person that knows you, but I don't want you to get that kind of friend that only tells you what you want to hear. You want that person that will tell you what you need to hear. So if you work with a mentor, you journal, and you get a friend who will show you patterns, bingo, you'll be on your way because now you're going to see the important thing about it is, like I said, when I was talking, it's mental debugging. It's being able to see those negative patterns that you keep saying to yourself. And those things, whether you realize it or not, they influence your everyday life, your decisions, your actions, the way you think, the way you act, and all that. Yeah.
mm. That's amazing. Journal, get a mentor, get a friend um, that will tell you the truth, not necessarily what you want to hear. All right. Thank you so much. Any other questions for Dapo before we let him go? In the chat, in the Q&A segment. Okay, going, going. Okay, okay, there's one. I think I see one. Thank you, Mr. Dapo. I'm glad you mentioned journaling as a first step. We as a community hardly use a professional help such as counseling. Journaling is one way to get those intrusive thoughts in check and be able to visualize patterns. Yeah. So Reliat is just re-emphasizing what you said about journaling, that if we don't seek counseling, maybe we shall journal. Yeah. Thank you, Reliat, for calling that out. Yeah, that's a good one. So thank you. Okay, we will go to our next speaker. Thank you very much, Mr. Dapo. Thank you for turning up despite